YouTube, man, I'm back with another video, back with another upload, and today I want to talk about how the journey isn't perfect. And a lot of times when we try to go on these different journeys, or when we try to take on these different challenges, I feel like we try to be too perfect, or we try to do things perfectly, and that's what makes the journey imperfect, because we always end up messing up. And when we end up messing up, it's like we get into this guilt stage, and that guilt keeps us from actually attempting to try the challenge or try to be perfect on our journey, because it makes us mess up more, to be honest. Because these negative emotions that we gain from trying to be perfect puts us in a cycle of negativity. So that's why we always fail when it comes to doing the things that we say we're going to do, or attempting to take on the test that we say we're going to take, because we just put ourselves in this paradox of negative emotions for no reason. But you got to understand that you're not a perfect person, and that your journey is not going to be perfect, bro. Because you got to understand that as you go up in your journey, you will also have down times in your journey, because that's the way of the universe. The universe comes with its ups and its downs. Once you understand that everything in the universe has to have balance, you will understand why you will always rise to the top and why you will always fall. Because it's normal. If you don't fall, it's not, it's not, I can't talk. Damn, there's going to be no balance. Bro, my ADHD be kicking my ass, bro, for no reason. Like, chill, be cop blocking me from having the greatest YouTube video ever, but I still got the greatest YouTube videos ever. I don't care. But anyways, like I was saying, dog, there is no balance. If we always was at the top, that means that everybody in this world would just be at the top, but we wouldn't learn nothing. What's the point of being at the top without learning anything? That's like the universe just giving us a silver spoon and just like, here, have it. But then when we have it, we ain't gonna know what to do with it, because we didn't learn anything. That's why we always have to fail when it comes to doing the things we do. And you just have to get used to failure, because you're gonna fail. That does not mean you're a loser. That does not mean you're a failure. With anything that you attempt, there will always be ups and downs. There will always be down times in anything you attempt. And you have to get used to it, bro. A lot of times people don't want to take on new tests, or don't want to attempt something new, because they feel like they're going to fail. But why are you so worried about the failure? The failure should be normal. You shouldn't be worried about the failure. You shouldn't be worried at all. You should actually be optimistic about the future, optimistic about how you're going to actually progress in your life, optimistic about the productivity that you're going to bring to yourself, because you focus on the wrong thing. Your attention is shifted to the wrong thing. You need to shift your attention to the positive aspect of what you're trying to attempt. You need to shift your attention to living in the end of what you're trying to attempt. You need to shift your attention to already having what you want, of already accomplishing what you say you're going to accomplish. Not focusing on the failures, not focusing on the, oh, I'm really going to fail, that's sad, blah, 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 because there's no point of just focusing on the failure. But again, we're so programmed to focus on, damn, a low battery thing came up, my bad, but we're so focused on, but we're so programmed to focus on the negativity in our life that of course we're going to put our attention on the failure. But it's no point, because you're not perfect, and you need to come to the conclusion that you're not perfect. This will stop you from having all types of worry, stress, and all that anxiety, whatever you feel when it comes to doing things. It'll stop all that once you understand that you're going to fail. Once you tell yourself that you're going to fail, it's normal. But don't tell yourself that you're going to fail and not rise back up. Of course, you got to tell yourself that, okay, yeah, I failed, but I'm always going to make a comeback, because failure is success. Don't say I failed in a loser type way. Don't be like, oh, I failed, I'm not going to get this done, I'm not going to do this. Nah, be like, okay, you know what, I made a mistake, but mistakes are success. Mistakes are lessons to be learned. It's about how you look at things. It's about your perspective. It's about how you talk to yourself. And if you ain't talking to yourself in the right way, bro, your reality ain't gonna give you the things in the right way, bro. It's about your perspective, for real, bro. You just gotta take your perspective off of the negative things that you focusing on and shift it to the positive outcomes, dog, because it's that easy for real, bro. Because a long time I was focused on the failures and the mistakes in my life, and I would just cause some more failures and mistakes in my life. Because the more you focus on the mistakes, the more you're going to make mistakes. But the more you focus on the, okay, mistakes are lessons, mistakes are failures, mistakes are actually wins, because everything you do, you're winning. Everything you do, you're right. So even if you make a mistake, tell yourself that, okay, I did this right. Even if you, like I say, even if you made a mistake and you clearly see that you failed, still be like, you know what, I did this right, because this is a lesson for me to learn. It's about how you tell you, like I said, it's about what you tell yourself. If you be like, okay, I made a mistake, I did this wrong, of course you're going to keep doing more wrong, because you're telling your brain that you do wrong. You got to listen to what you tell yourself, bro. You got to be aware of the things that you tell yourself. You got to be aware of what's going on in your reality, because like I said, this whole reality that we live in is a big ass illusion, dog. Everything in this reality is an illusion. Nothing is what it seems to be, bro. Just like the Riddler in Batman, bro. He had so many illusions, and nothing was meant to be for what Batman was seeing. I don't even know if I said that right, but I do not care. Anyways, like I was saying, it's the same way with life. Nothing is what it seems to be. It's all an illusion, because anything can shift. Any energy can shift at any moment, bro. Because that's how the universe works. Because if you shift your energy from wanting to having what you want, the universe is going to give it to you. All you got to do is just relax. And make sure that you're aware of what you're telling yourself, and you're aware of the illusions that's going on in your life, and not reacting to certain things, bro. It's that easy. But then again, our brain won't let us comprehend it as easy, because you keep telling yourself life is hard. Why would you keep telling yourself life is hard? You see how the way you talk to yourself is so simple, but yet so powerful, dog? If you tell yourself life is hard, your life gonna be hard. But if you say life is easy, your life gonna be easy. Ever since I've been telling myself that life is easy, I've been in so much peace, and like life has just been easy for real. Like I just been chilling. Because it's the way you talk to yourself, bro. And I'm gonna make a whole video about this, because a lot of y'all really need this. Because, bro, I be around so many people, and they be saying so many negative things about themselves, and I'm just like, how can you love yourself if you talking to yourself like that? You talking to yourself like you the worst enemy, but you should be talking to yourself like you the bestest of friends with yourself, dog. I'm not finna tell myself I'm the worst. I'm not finna tell myself I'm ugly. Why would you tell yourself you ugly? Then you're gonna really be ugly, because when you tell yourself you ugly, you're gonna be ugly. This is why I don't like to hear certain type of things that people say. And it's like, I can't even, I want to tell people about it, but it's like, not everybody gonna listen. Not everybody gonna see that vision. Not everybody gonna see different, because everybody on a different frequency. And it's not for me to try to be an influencer and try to change people's lives. I can't change people's lives. Everybody got to change their own lives. So you got to change your own life. You got to change your own perspective about the things in your life. And the one perspective that you got to change is that you're not perfect. You got to tell yourself that you're not perfect. Every day, just tell yourself you're not perfect. And I promise you, you're going to let go of the stress and anxiety and the worries of trying to be perfect, of trying to please people, of trying to accomplish everything, because you simply can't really accomplish anything by yourself, because God does it all. Once you realize that God manifests and God reveals everything in your life, you'll release all this build up inside you, because you're infinite. You're not infinite. God is an infinite possibilities. You're a finite creature in this 3D physical realm, so you can't do things that God can do. So you need to sit back and let God work, dog. You need to sit back and stop trying to be perfect, because you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. You're never going to have the perfect routine. You're never going to have a perfect day. You're never going to have perfect work, because the work that you feel like, bro, let me tell you something. The times where we have did something and we didn't even try, and it was barely anything that we liked, it was the best thing ever to everybody else. That's how it be, because you didn't care. Stop caring. Stop caring so much about being perfect. Just live life and just relax. All right? But that's what I wanted to talk about today, man. I hope y'all having a blessed day, blessed night. Staying safe, staying hydrated, drinking y'all water, all that, blah, 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 man. Give me a fist bump. See y'all in the next video. Peace out.